Globally, all humans aspire to a better life. We hold big dreams in our hearts, whether it's for our families, in business, or the sheer adventure of breaking boundaries to achieve greatness. When the spark of motivation ignites us to go for our big dreams, our high resolve impacts the whole world. Now we are turning the spotlight on this generation of motivators and the power of positivity in hopes to reach every corner of the earth. We feature leaders who are ready to unleash our full potential as individuals, communities, and countries on the biggest stage there is. This is World's Greatest Motivators. In this episode of World's Greatest Motivators Conversation, the executive producers David Meltzer, Lynn Kitchen, and Julie Jones Hamilton welcome Bob Proctor. Bob is known as one of the world's greatest speakers on the topic of thinking into results. He is a leading expert of Napoleon Hill's international best-selling book, Think and Grow Rich. Bob Proctor is a star of the hit movie The Secret, and he's also a best-selling author of several books, including You Were Born Rich and the ABCs of Success. Bob has focused his entire 55-year career around supporting others and creating a life of prosperity. He has developed many multi-million-dollar companies and has helped to create many multi-millionaires. Bob Proctor is a world's greatest motivator.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this amazing opportunity to be with Bob Proctor in the Conversations with World's Greatest Motivators. My name's Lynn Kitchen, one of the executive producers of the television show of the same name, World's Greatest Motivators, of which Bob Proctor has been one of our stars, along with David Meltzer, also executive producers. How are you, David?
Amazing, especially because all three of you are here. Thank you so much for taking your time.
And we're here with executive producer as well, Julie Jones Hamilton. Hello, Julie.
Hello, Lynn. Good to be here. Thank you.
And our star of the show. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Bob Proctor.
It's my pleasure, Lynn.
Tonight
Happy
we
to be
are,
here.
yes, well, it's our pleasure, truly.
Thank you.
We're honored, and we have so many people from around the world who are already gathering, and so we would love for everyone who is here to place your name in the chat. Tell us where you're from. I just got a text from a gentleman in Pakistan who got up at 4:30 at his hour and is with us and invited all his friends from around the world. And Bob, you are an international star, so they're all coming here. While everyone's joining, I just want to welcome you, let you know that we will be sending a replay, and you are here to ask questions. So make sure that you put your questions in the Q&A, please, in the Q&A, comments in the chat, but your questions in the Q&A, and we'll get to as many questions as we can tonight for Bob Proctor. This is an historic time. And Julie, why don't you begin?
Well, thank you, Lynn, and hello, everybody, and welcome. I am so happy, and I'm so grateful that you're with us. Hello, David, and welcome, Bob.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Julie.
if it's okay, I'm going to jump right in.
That'd be great.
Bob, right now, we are noticing that there are so many feeling the loss of control in their lives, in their finances, in their health, in their future. And Bob, you being a teacher of thinking into results, what would you say would be the most powerful thing that someone could do right now that would support them to look at things differently?
Well, I think, first of all, people have to begin to think. And unfortunately, a lot of people are not thinking. I remember Earl Nightingale said, if most people said what they were thinking, they would be speechless. And I remember when he said that, I laughed, but then I thought, I think he's right. If you listen to the average individual, it's obvious they're not thinking or they would never say what they're saying, or if you watch their behavior. We are not controlled by what's going on outside unless we let that happen. We have a control panel inside. We're the only creature on the planet that's completely or totally disoriented in our environment. All the other little creatures are completely at home in their environment. They blend in. We're totally disoriented in our environment because we've been given the ability to create our own environment. We have higher faculties. We have perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, intuition. These are all higher faculties, and they're what make us God's highest form of creation. So I think what we have to do, especially in times like this, is stop and think. Who is in charge of me? Is the outside world, am I going to let this be in control of me, or am I going to control me? Now, I'm not saying we ignore the situation. It's there. You can't deny it. But you make a decision that you're not going to permit it to control you. I absolutely refuse to spend all my time listening to the news or reading about it in the newspaper. Anything that you are watching or reading over and over and over again, you're going to be emotionally involved with. And that's when it starts to control you. So I think what we have to do is, maybe I get good books all around me all the time. So start reading something worthwhile. Make up your mind you're going to change your situation. If you have a money problem, understand you can solve your money problem. It's no different than any other problem. A problem is an opportunity to exercise our God-given faculties and create something better than we've got. That's what I teach. That's what I've been teaching now since 1968. I've been studying it since 1961. I absolutely love it. And when a person takes control over themselves, they take control over their life, everything starts to change in their favor.
Very good, of course. Thank you. David, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I think just to compliment what Bob's saying, pain itself is an indicator. I told my teenage daughters here, I said, pain, emotional, physical, spiritual, financial pain is just an indicator that you have a lesson to learn. You don't get mad at the left turn signal in your car when you put that thing on. You just know there's going to be a change of direction. And if we can take the pain that is present in our lives and see it as an indicator that there's a new opportunity to look within and see what capabilities we have, and define capabilities as, number one, the skills that we have, and it's a perfect time to develop those skills, the knowledge that we have, want or need, and go and seek knowledge. Don't be inundated by knowledge from the news and negativity that can surround us all day. Go seek the books and go seek the mentorship. There's content everywhere to seek that can change your life. And then finally, this is a time to develop your desire. There's no better time to see what juice is inside of you than when you're squeezed. And so if you can take this time to see that I must be what I can be, and I'm given the opportunity to actually show. I remember when I lost everything in 2008, and my uncle said, man, I can't wait to see what Dave does now. I said, what are you talking about? He says, because he finally has his back against the wall again. This is something I want to see. He's been on easy street since he graduated law school. This kid has a lot more in him. I want to see what he has in him. This is going to be great. I feel the same way right now about everyone. Take your capabilities, see how they're synergistic, supplementary to what's going on. Pain's an indicator for an opportunity to grow, and that's what everybody has to take into account.
Yeah, very good. So what do you think would be the most beneficial to move in the direction of their desire?
Well, it's determinative on taking inventory of their values. And I'm sure Bob can speak to, that inventory that we take in what we should do.
I was teaching a lesson today. I'm going to read the first line or so out of it. It says, what is our point of support? Is it in ourselves or outside of us? Are we self-poised, or does our balance depend upon something external? According to the actual belief in which we answer to these questions is embodied, so will our lives be. You see, I think we have to ask ourselves, where is my point of support? If it's not inside, then you're just like a cork in the ocean that's being bounced all over the place. We've got to realize that we have phenomenal mental powers. We've got faculties that just go beyond the scope of our imagination. If you read biographies, I haven't read one for a while, but I've been into a lot of biographies. And every great man or woman really came into their greatness at the worst time in their life. Look at Mandela, locked up in prison, had been there for years, but yet he became the president of his country. You know, there's stories just one after the other like that. What you got to do is don't cry, don't whine, sit down and write down the way you're living, and then say, do I want to live this way? And if the answer is no, then take another sheet of paper and write down how you want to live. Now, if you'll just focus on how you want to live and think, how can I, not can I, but how will I? Do you know, anyone that's ever done anything of any consequence had no idea how they were going to reach the goal when they set it. The Wright brothers had no idea how they're going to get the plane off the ground. Ed Hillary had no idea how he was going to get to the top of Mount Everest. But they made a decision that's what they were going to do. It had never been done, but they did it. And anyone that's done anything of any consequence, that's how they accomplished it. You know, Dave, you're very involved in the Unstoppable Foundation. Look at the work that's being done there. It's absolutely phenomenal. You know, I went to Cynthia Kersey's birthday party, her 50th birthday party. She said, you want to come to my birthday party? And I said, yeah, okay. And she said, I'll sell you a ticket. And that made me laugh. I said, you're going to sell me a ticket. She got the idea of selling tickets to her birthday party and take the money from those tickets and start to build schools in Africa. Now, I mean, that's a pretty big stretch. I'm going to sell a ticket to my birthday party and build schools in Africa. The truth is, she's built hundreds of schools over there. Thousands of people now are eating nutritious food, getting proper medical care, being educated, because she made up her mind that at the age of 50, she was going to do this. And now there's a big foundation. You're the chairman of it, Dave.
Yeah, inspired me to do 50 birthday parties for my 50th birthday. And my mission in life completely changed to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. And I had no clue. When I said that, people laughed at me, scoffed at me, made fun of me, just like other things I'd said in my life. And I had no clue how I was going to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. But I know that if I can create a collective consciousness of happiness, that just meager, little middle-aged me can change the entire world with a collective consciousness, a collective belief of happiness, the most powerful virus of all time that can be spread by witnessing it, that strengthens our immune system. And I started doing the math. I said, if I could find 1,000 people like Lynn Kitchen, Julie Jones Hamilton, Bob Proctor, Aaron Lecter, all these great people that I know can empower another 1,000 to empower another 1,000, 1,000 times 1,000 is a million times 1,000, 1 billion. I know how I'm going to do it now. And it all started because Cynthia Kersey had a birthday party and asked you to buy a ticket.
Well, you know, the beautiful truth is we can do anything that we can think. Van Gogh was asked one time how he did such beautiful work. He said, I dream my painting and then I paint my dream. Well, that's how anything's ever been accomplished. So if a person's in a bad spot right now, they may be out of work, their business may be in trouble. Take a pen and sit down and write out what you want. Don't feel bad because it's like it is. I tell people constantly to do something I did a long time ago. Download Nat King Cole's song, Pretend. Memorize the lyrics. Play it often and sing along with them. It's a phenomenal piece of music, and the lyrics will just blow you away. Pretend you're happy when you're blue. It isn't very hard to do. And you'll find happiness without an end whenever you pretend. The lyrics are phenomenal. So download Pretend by Nat King Cole. Sing the song, but take and write out what you want to accomplish. I think one of the great secrets too, Dave and Julie and Lynn, is you've got to surround yourself with people that are going to go and do something. Don't surround yourself with people that feel sorry for you. Don't surround yourself with people who want to sympathize with you. I love the way Earl Nightingale talked about it a long time ago. He said, don't talk about your health unless you're talking to a doctor. Well, in other words, don't complain. Meet with people, brainstorm with people, partner with people, and really make something big happen. This is probably one of the best times in history where we can look and see absolute terrible things happening all over the world. Everyone's in the same boat, but not everyone is going in the same direction. There's some people that understand when things are at their worst, they're also at their best. There's an absolute law in the universe. It's called polarity. That law decrees everything is an opposite. You couldn't have an inside to the room that you're in if there wasn't an outside. You couldn't have an up without a down. You couldn't have a right without a left. Couldn't have a front without a back. And you cannot have a bad without a good. The truth is nothing's good or nothing's bad unless their thinking makes it so. Everything just is. And then it is what we make it. So you can see the downside or you can see the upside. There's a beautiful opportunity for every one of us right now. But we've got to see it. It's not going to show us its way. You know, I forget the author's name. He said, God will feed every bird, but he doesn't put food in their nest. You've got to get out. You've got to do the work, and you'll get the reward. It's that simple.
You know, Bob, you have written a best-selling book called You Were Born Rich.
Yeah.
And that really changed me when I read that, and especially as it relates to mindset, and mindset especially as it relates to financial circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
We have quite a few questions tonight as it relates to financial circumstance. Some people are not in the best place right now financially. What would you think is the one mindset shift that they can do in terms of their financial circumstance to shift into the belief that you were born rich?
I'll tell you exactly what you have to do. Do exactly what I did. In 1961, I was earning $4,000 a year and I owed $6,000. So if I took every cent I earned for 18 months and paid debt, I would have just broken even. I had nothing to live on. It was an impossible situation. A man gave me this book. This is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I've got an elastic around it because the book's fallen apart. I've been reading it now for 59 years. But in the book, it tells you to sit down and decide what you want. And the man that got me to read it, he said, do exactly what I'm telling you. And that's what he told me to do. He said, sit down and write a goal on a card. That was my goal card. He said, what do you really want? The only thing I wanted at that time was some money. And he said, well, how much do you want? And I said, $25,000. Now that would have been like me sitting down and writing $1 billion right now. $25,000, I had no idea where that money would come from. I didn't know anybody that had that. But what it did, it got me thinking of earning money. Up till then, I was thinking of debt. If your goal is to get out of debt, you'll probably stay in debt forever because you become what you think about. And I had this goal card and I kept reading it about having $25,000. Now, I gave myself a decade to do it. I wrote it on the card in 1961, and I said by 1970, I would have it. Do you know, I heard somebody talking that there was good money cleaning floors. I said, I'm not proud, I'll clean floors. And so I started cleaning floors. Do you know, by the end of that first year, I was earning about $175,000 a year. Within 5 years, I was over $1 million. I was prepared to get out with a bucket and a mop and do whatever I had to do to earn money. If you're not prepared to do some things, you're going to be without money forever. You got to be prepared to do anything honest to earn money. And you're going to find as you start doing that, you're going to start thinking on a prosperity frequency. You're going to start to think about money. You're going to start thinking about earning money. And you will attract the thoughts, the things, and the people to do that. This company was in trouble at one time, many years ago, 15 years ago. And I've been in business now for over 50 years. We attracted a woman as my partner now, Proctor Gallagher. She's an absolutely financial genius. Our company is in the best shape now it's ever been in. We operate now in 88 countries. We just did a seminar where we went into 119 countries streaming. You see, none of this happens by accident. It happens because you've got to be prepared to do whatever you have to do to get on the right track. Sit down and write the goal. And if you're short of money, don't think debt. Think of earning. Do whatever you have to do. Doesn't matter what it was. See, a lot of people that I knew wouldn't do that, wouldn't clean floors. They said, well, I wouldn't do that. Well, those people probably still haven't got any money. I think you've got to be prepared to do whatever is honest and honorable to earn money. Now, I had a family, and so I had to do something, and that's what I did. And I got to do it very well. In a short time, about 5 years, I was doing cleaning offices in Toronto, Montreal, Boston, Cleveland, Atlanta, and London, England. You see, when you get on the right track and you study with the right people, your mind starts to expand. If you sit and dwell in your problems, I guarantee you they will grow. Whatever you give your thoughts to, that's what's going to expand in your life. Give your thoughts to growth. Focus on the dynamics that's within yourself. I'm going to be 86 in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. I got more energy than most people that are 36. There's no end to what we're capable of doing. Build a big idea in your mind. Write it on paper and say, I'm doing that. Not can I. You can do anything. You are God's highest form of creation. Get out there and do it.
That's right. Bob, we have so many questions. They're just pouring in now. Let's see. It was Josh who asked, Bob, could you give us the difference between visualization and imagination? What is the difference?
There isn't any difference. You visualize, you use your imagination to visualize. Now, people use their imagination, they'll imagine something terrible happen, they'll start to worry and they'll get involved in fear. Visualization is when you can visualize something terrible happening, and some people do that. You've got to sit down, decide what you want, and then build a picture of it. See it very clear in your mind. Your subconscious mind doesn't know whether you're visualizing or whether it's real. And you'll inspire yourself, and you'll start to do the thing you want to do. Dave Meltzer's built a lot of big companies. He has made all kinds of things happen. But I'm going to tell you something. If you ask him, he'll be clear to tell you. It was all done in his mind before it was ever done outside of him. That's where it starts. It starts in your mind. You build a vision. You use your imagination and start to see yourself with the good you desire.
Kai, one thing, give John Astroff a little credit, though, that Bob stated, and I can't reiterate. We talk about the law of attraction and visualization and imagination, but there's no substitute for the law of Goya, right? You got to get off your ass. And I'm a big efficiency, productivity person. I'm utilizing my time to produce as much as I can, as much value as I can, whether it's washing floors. I remember in law school sitting there telling my mom, I will shovel dung with my hands 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, if I can buy you a house. That's the dream I had.
Thank you. That's awesome. We have several questions. One from Larissa. Bob, what do you believe caused you to excel your goal by 5 times?
I got reading Think and Grow Rich. And then I got listening to Earl Nightingale's recording of it. And I had a coach. If you haven't got a mentor, it's trouble. You've got to get somebody to help you. And I think it was such a different way of thinking, Lynn. It inspired me. I got excited about the idea. And the more I got enthused about it, the more energy I had to do it. It's like Emerson said, do the thing, you'll get the energy to do the thing. And when you get moving in the right direction, a little bit of success leads to more success. And I found myself mixing with other people that was reading this book. I found myself with other people that had goals. Up until then, a goal to me was something that happened in a hockey or a soccer game, but not in life. I didn't understand what goals were all about. A goal is when you sit down and ask yourself, what do I really want? Write it out in the present tense and then say, I'm going to lay claim to that. and just think of how to do it.
You know, Joseph asks, Bob, how do you keep yourself looking so great? What do you do for exercise?
I keep going. I don't hang around old people.
You can hang out with me, Bob, anytime. I'm young.
You certainly are.
Yeah, he's hanging out with us. Thanks, Bob.
One of the chapters 14 in Think and Grow Rich, only those who gain more retain any. From him who hath not shall be taken away, even that which he hath. Can you explain this for me, please? So grateful for all of you.
Very easily. Emerson called the law of cause and effect the law of laws. Jane Wilhite puts it very well. She says, givers gain. The more you put out, the more that's going to come back. You've got to create a space for the good that you desire. You have to develop a prosperity consciousness. And it's by giving that you receive. The people who give the most receive the most. I've studied this for a long time. Tithing is probably one of the best ideas that anyone ever originated. It's an ancient idea. It comes from religion, but it's a sound idea. A part of all you earn, you should give away. It'll all come back. Farmers do it. They take part of their crop and put it back in the ground because they know that's going to give them more. Well, you do the same with your money.
One other thing Bob taught me is it's not trading, right? One of the things that shifted my life is giving and receiving was one in the respect that when I shifted my perspective to what purpose, whether it was to buy my mom a house or to build community centers in Africa or save lives, then the receiving became so much easier. I made that room for what I wanted because it was coming through me for others with appreciation. And it was a really big shift from, I always gave in my entire life as I was a young, wealthy person, but I gave with conditions and I gave for recognition and I gave for offense and resentment. And there's always something tied to my giving. And once I learned that I was giving through me for others, it changed that entire paragraph in Think and Grow Rich. And Bob was the one that taught me that.
You know, if a lot of people give to receive, that's the wrong reason. That is called trading. That's not giving. Giving is let go of completely, abandon. There's a great book. Okay, let's keep going. I'll come back to it.
Okay. I have another question here from Larissa. Bob, my 2.5-year-old son and I listen to you and Sandy daily, and we love your lessons and the ability to make things so accessible to everyone. When it comes to the law of forgiveness, what is the primary law that does this originate from? When it comes to the law of forgiveness.
Actually, it would originate from the vacuum law of prosperity. When you forgive, you've let go of, then you've created space for some good in your life. The one that I was trying to think of was The Magnificent Obsession by Lloyd C. Douglas, a Christian minister. And the magnificent obsession is giving, but don't tell anybody, just give. You don't need a reward. The reward will come to you. And he made it an obsession. And I thought obsession, that sounds like a negative word. But the truth is nothing's negative and nothing's positive. So I thought there has to be a positive side. So I looked it up. An obsession is a persistent, disturbing preoccupation with an often unreasonable idea. The idea is keep giving and give more. And you're going to find that you will be richly rewarded. It all comes back. Now, if you're flat broke and you're out of work, that may sound like a heck of a nice idea, but say, I haven't got anything to give. That's not true. You have. Give of yourself. Give of what you have got. But you've got to expect abundance. Expect abundance. You're God's highest form of creation. See abundance in your mind. Study it. Think about it. And it'll all come to you. See, some people say, well, Proctor's not being realistic. I'm being very realistic. You can get involved in creating it all in your mind. That's imagined reality. You see what you want. And if you work with that, it has to move into form. We're dealing with an orderly universe. the law is God's modus operandi. It's how everything happened. Winter never follows winter. When the tide goes out, it always comes back in. Always. You're dealing with laws. When you put out, it comes back. But it doesn't come back because you put it out. See, givers gain. You just put it out. My old mentor told me, he said, willingly give and graciously receive. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm. And then you're the ones who get to feel it. Even as the giving is giving, we get to feel it.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Bob. David, do you have a final question?
I'm blown away. Bob, my question deals with the perception of growth in time. I've been studying so hard why people quit. And part of it is we can't perceive the growth and acceleration that we're occurring, and we get impatient. How can people perceive their growth and acceleration and not quit? Because I think quitting is the number one problem that we have.
People quit when they take their eye off where their goal. They take their eye off where they're going. And what we've got to understand, I think everybody should read Price Pritchett's book, U Square, because he talks about dealing with the unseen. There's unseen powers working around you all the time. You're dealing with an order of the universe. If you keep the image in your mind, everything starts working in your favor. But just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. You know, I set a goal one time. I was out by 13 months. I didn't miss it by a week or a month. I missed it by over a year. I knew that I had chosen the wrong date. I think you should put a date on your goal, but you've got to know if you hold the idea in your mind, not maybe, it must. That's the law. It's called the law of perpetual transmutation. Energy is always moving into form. And whatever idea you hold in your mind, if you keep the idea there, people quit because they lose sight of the idea.
Yes, like absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence.
That's exactly right. It was Price Pritchett that said that. That was so good. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And I just want to thank everyone who had magnificent questions tonight. We got to as many as we could. And those of you who we didn't get to, we're going to pull them all together, and we will have the best, we'll try our best to get those answered by Bob and Dave. And I just want to thank you again, Bob, for being with us tonight and giving us your wisdom, your experience, your hope, your strength.
I see Kim Lorette's on there. She's a dear friend of mine.
Oh, good. Yeah, Kim. Yeah. Yeah, Kim.
Listen, it's been a pleasure working with you, Julie. And
thank you.
It's, you know, it's such a big idea that you're working with. And it's something that you don't want to let the idea go. You two ladies are, you know, you've got such a phenomenal idea, and you're helping so many people. When Lynn first talked to me about the idea, I thought, well, you know, she's definitely going to make it happen. She's got such a drive behind her. And then when I saw her with Dave Meltzer involved, I thought this thing has got to work. With Meltzer's involved, it's going to work. Dave, you have to be one of the most effective executives that I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. And when I heard that you were being a part of this, I thought this thing is going to win. For sure it will win. Dave has such a track record behind him. It's just a pleasure to be a part of the whole thing. So Lynn, Julie, Dave, pleasure to be with you all.
Thank you so much. And Dave, I just want to say thank you to Dave. World's Greatest Motivators is a tremendous resource. I'm putting it up on the board now. You can all go to worldsgreatestmotivators.com. And right here on the top right, click Watch Season 1 and be amazed at all of our great speakers. And to the top left, Bob Proctor, you can open up his tab, and right there you can see the Bob Proctor episode of World's Greatest Motivators episode of Bob Proctor. Watch it right here for free. This is a tremendous resource, as well as receive the gifts that Bob has so generously gifted right here on this website. All of these speakers have given such great gifts, including David Meltzer, tremendous gifts. This is a resource that will help you through this time. Have your children watch it. Come back and can see us. Give us your thoughts. Give us your feelings. Let us help you and we will be continuing to bring you conversations from world's greatest motivators.
All right.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you,
Julie?
Ann.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Stay happy and healthy. I appreciate all three of you.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you
Be
all.
well.
This is World's Greatest Motivators.
I hope you enjoyed this video. We put a lot of good information up here, and it causes everything in your life to get better. If you'd like us to notify you every time we put a new video up, hit subscribe and then turn on notification. Check out all our videos, and we will notify you when we put a new one up.